playoff Bob is a different animal. This
As
is
we
such a
all
deep
saw on
team.
live TV. That is
Yeah.
incredible. The save of the century.
Torelli looks over his shoulder. That wrister partially blocked by Montour. Out in front, Bobrovsky dives to his right.
Works his way around. He's out of position, but he turns around and grabs it with his glove. Huge save.
Really, just
I
absolutely
can't
incredible.
wrap my head around it. I don't know how he made that save. I don't know how he did it.
It's just once in a lifetime, once in a generation, you'll see something like that, and it just blows your mind. Hello and welcome to the New Wave Hockey Podcast. I'm your host, Link Dansevich, and today we will be talking about the second round of the NHL playoffs. And I'm joined by a very special guest, former member of the Syracuse Hockey Analytics Club, Rob White.
What's up, guys? I'm Rob White. I'm glad to be with you today talking about hockey. This is my podcast debut. I didn't think it'd be about hockey. I thought it'd be about baseball, but glad to be here.
Exactly. Well, we love to see it. Rob, you're making history today here on the New Wave Hockey Podcast. You know, you're the first Devils fan that we've had here today.
Hope I'm not the last, but I'm
Hey, I
honored
hope
to
you're
be
not
the
the
first
last
one.
either. You're also the second Rob and the most handsome Rob to be here on this podcast.
I will take that. I will
There you
take
go.
that.
I'm kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding, Rob. You know, I love you, man. I love you. All right, but let's get down to brass tacks. We just saw a kind of underwhelming first round of the playoffs. I'm not gonna lie to you. There were some games where like I was really tuned in, especially the one series that's still going on was probably my favorite series. But a lot of crappers in terms of series, man. Like what did you think? Well, overall, what was your thought on the first round at large?
I enjoyed I think the Dallas Vegas, as you said, I agree. That's been the
Well, we're
best
gonna do it.
series so
Let's not
far.
spoil it now, but yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, any series that goes seven, I mean, that's obviously fun. I think, of course, in the East, you had, two admittedly inferior teams in the Capitals and Islanders get that. They face the two best teams in hockey. There's not a lot you can really do with that. I
I
think
mean,
everyone kind of expected those series to end quickly.
there's an argument that there's an argument that totally there that I would certainly make that the Flyers and or the Penguins, Red Wings, or even Devils, I'm just throwing you whatever you want right now, would do better. But we'll get into that right
Yeah.
now. The first round, let's go series by series, talking about just the series at large. And again, we're not all wrapped up. We're recording this now on Sunday, May 5th. The Dallas Vegas Game 7 game is tonight, but also the New York Carolina game 1 is also tonight. So I just wanted to get this one out really quickly to find out who is facing what and just give everyone a rundown what's going on. Clear? Good. Awesome. Let's start in our least favorite division of all time, the Metro. Oh my gosh. So where we had the only sweep in the entire playoffs, the New York Rangers versus the Capitals. What did you notice during this series, Rob?
The Rangers didn't look phased at all. There were times where the Capitals got a goal up and the Rangers responded immediately. They played like a President's Trophy team. Obviously, you have the best goaltender for my money in the world in Igor Shesterkin.
As a
They,
Devils fan, saying that is
I
crazy.
yeah, for my money, he's the best.
I think Dave and Rob Yardley have got to you. Honestly, they really have gotten to
Maybe
you.
a little bit, maybe a little bit.
We'll
But
see.
I mean, they just didn't. The Capitals looked out of their weight class there. I thought initially that the Caps might steal a game or two, just because it's a division game. Sometimes those games are tough, right? But the Rangers, methodical, just ran them out the gym.
Yeah, it was not really close. I think I saw on there was a Twitter place I follow. It's called like it's Data Driven Hockey. That I was just following some of their posts, and they're just showing me the advanced analytics going into the series, and I was just like, what's the point? Like, come on, let's just have
Yeah.
them move on. Like, it's not even a big deal. I also did think that the Capitals were going to steal a game because Sonny Milano kind of was going insane during the series. If you just saw the moves he was trying to make, it was crazy.
Yeah.
And the Rangers gave a roster spot to Matt Rempe. So like, what are you doing there? I think if he even plays a game in the second round, dude, it's going to be just not good for them. But again,
I would
we'll
be
see.
really surprised, especially for a team as dangerous as Carolina. You can't afford to give them any
They're so
advantages.
speed
So
based. Like you can't give them that speed. It's ridiculous. Now we've gotten that one out of the way. Let's just go to the other one that
yeah.
also was really, really quick. The Carolina Hurricanes versus the New York Islanders. where the Islanders, they did steal the game, and it was in overtime, and it was a great, great series overall. This was one of the better 5-game series, I thought,
Yeah.
through the first round. What about you?
I was really some of the games I thought were actually closer than I expected. Obviously,
Exactly.
we all
Yeah.
know it ended in 5 games, but as you said, I thought the Islanders held their own for the most part in some of these games. Obviously, there was the one game they blew a 3-goal lead where they looked completely outmatched, but in
They
most of the
got,
other
yeah.
games, I thought they held their own and just they ended up losing 4 games, and that's just, the end of the story there.
I
But
mean,
I thought for the most
it
part, they didn't look terrible.
and they did it with Varlamov in net, who I was really, really impressed with. He played really well for all
Yeah.
his money. The Hurricanes were just putting up like 40, 35 shots a game. It was ridiculous. You know who I was really surprised about, and I really was like kind of shocked that he was doing as well that he was doing? Evgeny Kuznetsov. He just kind of came to Carolina and just became like their playoff warrior. He's like the new Mr. Game 7 for them, except they haven't even gone to a Game 7 yet. I think their MVP for this series was Kuznetsov, and I think going into next series he's going to be a huge factor because the Rangers. We'll get to like a first round preview of these, the second round preview of these guys, but Rob, I mean, who's your impact player for the Hurricanes besides Kuznetsov?
Hurricanes, I think we talk a lot about Carolina's top players, the Ahos, the Svechnikovs, and I guess he is a big name on them, but Teravainen, I thought, had a really good series. He had a
He
couple pretty
flies
big
under the
goals and
radar.
points
He
for them.
does.
So
It's a
I was
shame.
really impressed by Teravainen.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you. Yeah, he flies under the radar sometimes, but again, just as good as the rest of them. I wish that, Carolina had a little bit more of a killer instinct throughout this entire series, but again, who am I to like criticize anybody for how they put away a team in, 5 games?
You won
So
in 5, you move on, live to see another week of hockey.
I'm fine with it. So let's keep moving on. Stay in the East for a little bit. Florida versus Tampa. Did you see this series ending in 5 games?
No. I was
Yeah, it
obviously
didn't feel like
I
it.
thought I had a feeling that Florida was gonna win, right? They're the better team. But even again, we talk about how the games in the Isles Carolina series were close. These games were close too. I
Every single one of them was
was
close.
I said this is the most exciting 4-game sweep I might ever see. Because I thought Tampa was holding their own. Vazzy was making some incredible saves. Bob made that one absolutely I might be the best save I've ever
It
seen
is the
in my
save of the
lifetime.
century. It's the save of the century. I think you cannot beat it.
Unreal. Absolutely unreal. Both of
Exactly.
these teams played great. It's a shame that this one ended in 5. I would have loved to see it go 6 or 7.
I think
But
it totally could have gone 6 or 7, but for the sake of the Florida Panthers, they kind of just bowled through the team. I think the meta is looking like it's going to be Avs Panthers in like a 96 rematch of that Stanley Cup final because they're just bowling over teams right now. We'll get to the Avs, but
we'll get to the abs.
the Panthers really came out and blew the doors off of a team that I thought would give them a run for their money. I really did. But Tampa, I mean, just bringing it back, is it safe to say that Tampa's window is like kind of shut at this moment?
I think it's getting close to the end. We hear the rumors with Stamkos potentially leaving, and that's losing such a long tenured player, the captain, right? That's tough. And I think we saw their kind of run of dominance at the top of the Atlantic, top of the league, obviously won back-to-back cups. And now it's kind of been the Bruins and the Panthers at the top, right? A wild card team this year. Not for a wild card team because they were bad, just because the other teams were simply better. So it's getting towards the end of that window, I think, for Tampa.
Yeah, which is a shame because they played
Great
really well.
team.
So
Great team.
great team. Gonna miss them. Let's move on now to the series that wrapped up last night. Boston, Toronto, yet again, 7 games. Yet again, Boston breaks their hearts in overtime. This was a great series to watch. The back and forthness, Toronto almost coming back. There's so much to love here for me, but right now, all I have is questions. All I have is just questions for Toronto. What are you going to do differently this offseason? Because it's yet another year of failure. Rob,
Right.
how the hell did this happen again to them?
I mean, you think with the team of Matthews, Nylander, Tavares, right? I mean, their offense is incredible, but you do have to have questions about their defense, right? And I think at least for the first 3 or 4 games of this series, Boston, I don't wanna say exposed that, but those question marks started to come up,
At
and they
least in
kind of get
goaltending.
definitely goaltending, obviously, Wall and I questioned a little bit starting Samsonov over Wall last night.
I don't
Um,
understand that decision at all. I can't believe that Wall was hot. He won 2 straight and they benched him for some reason.
I don't know. Obviously, Samsonov only gave up 2 goals, but still, I mean, big question there. But I think if you're Toronto, I mean, haven't been able to get out of the first round a lot. You have a very good team. Like this isn't. I think the narrative around the Leafs is that they're chokers, that they can't perform in the playoffs, and I think a big reason of that is because of their defense. I think you kind of have to reevaluate what you're doing with this core, reevaluate who your core players are, who you want to keep on this offense, and maybe start to invest a little bit on that defense and goaltending because I think that's what will help them take that next step.
See, I agree with you only to an extent. I think they definitely need help on the goaltending. They were really poor this entire season with goaltending. Joe Wall stepped up and he got them to game 7, and I applaud him for that. I will disagree with you on the defense. I think the defense has actually been not terrible. The fact that they were able to force 7 games and limit
Right.
Boston to like 1 or 2 goals in the last 2 games, that says something, and they're a defensively minded core. But their core does not like to score goals, which is a problem, a big problem. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, what are we doing here? If you guys don't like, if there's no depth scoring, and sometimes Marner doesn't show up, sometimes Matthews doesn't show up, sometimes Nylander doesn't show up. It's a little bit, it's kind of a mixed bag. Nylander show up the last few games, like
You did.
that's it.
Speaking of Matthews, I was almost impressed them almost playing better while he was out. And for as much fault as we'll put on defense or whatever, thought that with they play for Austin Matthews, who's a pretty good two-way forward. They held Boston to what, like 2 shots in the first period of
Yeah,
game 4 or 5?
it was. I think it was game 6. Yeah, game 5.
Or game
You're
6,
right.
maybe. One of those
No, it
games.
was game 5. You're correct. Yeah,
So
that was insane.
to do that to get back to game 7 without Matthews, I thought was very impressive. But they just have to answer some of those question marks.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be so real. I don't think either of these teams would have gotten past Florida as well. They looked so exhausted last night. It's a war of attrition. I think they both worn each other out. So Toronto sucks, but at least you wore out Boston in the
Yeah.
process. So we'll see. I will be rooting for the Panthers in that series just because I love Sasha Barkov and I want him to go far. Please make it the year for him. But now let's move on to the West. The West, the West, the West. I think these are a lot more exciting matchups. Let's start off with the most boring one, definitively. Come on. Sorry, Josh
Kings
Friesen. But
Oilers.
yeah, Kings Oilers. Yeah, 5 games of just Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, and Zach Hyman dominating, and it was so boring. And I couldn't wait to turn off the TV every time that the final score was cool. Like it was so boring. I couldn't do it.
I think I was watching one of the games and I looked down for maybe 10 minutes and the Oilers put up 2 more goals and I was like, how did we get here? And then I would thought for a second, I was like, wait a minute, no, I'm not really surprised by this because we all expected this to happen. Again, I expected the Kings to steal a game, but some of these games were just not competitive at all. Again, like you said, the Oilers power play absolutely lethal. McDavid and Draisaitl especially absolutely torch them. Stop giving them penalties. Stop it. You have to. You have to find a way to stop giving them that man advantage because they are deadly with it. And if they can get consistent goaltending out of Stuart Skinner, they will be a very dangerous team.
I'm a little worried about Oilers beating the Canucks because I want the Canucks to go far. I think they're a really fun team to watch. The Edmonton Oilers might ruin that, but they are also not a terrible team to watch either. Good stuff. But I think this series completely raised new questions about the Kings core and how sustainable it is in the future. What the hell are you going to do with all this depth and no one really to play drive with it? Because Anze Kopitar has been scoring. Kevin Fiala has been scoring. Victor Arvidsson, where's he? PLD, forget about it. Like, I think they're about to buy out PLD maybe in this offseason. I would love to see that happen because they're not going to get. He's on their 4th line. They sent him to an 8.5. Like, what the hell's going on in LA?
They're in another tough spot. Just the fact that again, they've matched up with the Oilers now for, what is it, 3 years in a row now?
Yeah,
And they
that's
haven't been
true.
able to get past them. Obviously, we know how dangerous the Oilers can be, but you kind of just I don't want to say it's the definition of insanity because they've made the moves. They've acquired Fiala. They acquired PLD, which I can't say worked out for them at all, but
No.
you know,
Seeing what the Jets have done with him with the return from PLD,
yeah.
yeah, it's scary. And imagine all of those pieces healthy too, and Kupari in the lineup. That's unreal. I'm disappointed in how the Kings have been handling this whole rebuild they did, and now they're like finally ready to compete again. And it's just like they're just as stale as they were when they were coming off their cup high in the mid 2010s. The only player that I really think can go somewhere is Quentin Byfield, and he is just a joy to watch. But
He's taken a massive step this year.
yeah, he really has been a great player. But again, didn't show up that much in the playoffs. So we will move on now to the Vancouver Canucks versus the Nashville Predators. I was calling this to Rob Yardley. He was like, "Oh, dude, come on. You know the Vancouver Canucks are going to sweep them. Nashville's not that good. I don't know what you're talking about." I was right. 6 games, 7 games. I knew they were going to go. I knew they were going to go a long way because the Preds are a tough draw in the
Preds
first
are
round.
tough.
Yeah, it's on. I mean, I almost feel bad. I almost feel like the Edmonton Oilers got the easy end of the stick. I feel like if they played the Preds, they would have maybe gone to 7, maybe lost. But this Preds team, it's a heavy team. But Vancouver, just a bit more heavier. And I think that really has to go with their spark plug. Who's their spark plug, Rob?
It's Quinn Hughes.
I was looking for Dakota Joshua, but that's fine
I don't
too.
care.
Yeah,
It's
Quinn
Quinn
Hughes is
Hughes.
also.
Dakota Joshua is cool by me too, but I will always be a Quinn Hughes guy.
Wait, who are you? Wait, whose jersey are you wearing right now?
Jack Hughes.
Well, let me see. Let me see. Oh, look at the Hughes guy. Showing love to the brother. Look at that. New Jersey's fans, everybody. Love the
Yeah.
Hughes twins.
Well, dude, the Jersey fans, I'm pretty sure a lot of them are rooting for the Canucks simply because of Quinn. This was a series that I expected to go 7. Obviously, I'm rooting against, or not rooting against, but I'm rooting for Quinn Hughes because he's Jack's brother, of course. And then Andrew Burnett being our former assistant coach, who obviously I'm glad that he's doing well away from the team. This was I thought it was going 7 all the way. I'm a bit surprised it ended in 6. I thought Nashville would seal that game 6 and 4-7, but again, I thought this was another really good series, really low scoring goaltenders for the Canucks to lose Demko and DeSmith and still find a way to win 4 games. I thought was very
That
impressive.
Artur Silovs kid is nuts. He's insane. The Latvian legend. They love him over there. I'm a huge fan of him. Oh my gosh. Because I think he was in a World Juniors team one year, and I was watching. I'm like, this guy, ooh, yeah. But this Silovs kid, he's great. He's gonna be really good down the line. I guess the future backup for that team. But he has got to stay in the lineup until Demko comes back. I think
Right.
they're all set here. But you said Quinn Hughes. I was looking for you to say Dakota Joshua. Holy cow. Has a player just come
He
out
played
just
well.
that on fire. He was so good to start the series. And then Brock
I
Besser
know
cleaned it up.
I know he had some hits against the boards that some Predators fans were not very happy about, but
Caleb
again,
Rice. Sorry, Caleb.
but he played very well this year. I thought I forget what the numbers are specifically, but him with Connor Garland have such an incredible goal differential
Oh my
when they're
gosh.
on the ice
Yeah.
together.
I love Connor
They
Garland too.
have
He's
played.
so good.
I think Dakota Joshua, I think he's a free agent this year. He's going to get paid. Someone is going to pay him big money to replicate what he did this year.
Oh yeah. I could totally see like a Tampa Bay like handing him out like a 3x4. And I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. So I mean, if you find a guy who gives you that energy in the playoffs, it's invaluable. It's great. Let's move on now to Winnipeg, Colorado. And there's one thing to say here. That was a dominant series, front to back. They scored more than 5 goals 5 or more goals every single freaking game. That's insane.
Against Connor Hellebuck, against the likely Vezina winner.
Yeah, the likely Vezina winner. They turned him to mush, dude. That's insane. And Valeri Nichushkin, huh? How about that? What are your thoughts on the series? Did you really think it was
I was really surprised by this series. I will say, I thought the goaltending. I think Colorado has the better skaters in this series. I
By
don't
far.
think that's really an arguable statement there. But I thought that I thought Hellebuck would keep Winnipeg in this series, but Nate McKinnon is just inevitable. Some of the plays that they were making on the power play, yeah, rep it.
Exactly.
That was really they flipped a switch at points and they just ran the table. I was expecting this series to go maybe 6 games. I wasn't. I was a bit skeptical of Georgiev in net for the Avs, but they played fantastic in front of him. It wasn't an issue. Not aside from the first game where he led in 7, I don't think he led in more than 2 after that.
I think the
They
defense
played
just really just knew how
incredible.
to clutch up for him. Honestly, they just know his limitations, and it is a shame that he's not going to be that good of a goaltender. And like Darcy Kemper was better this time 2 years ago, but dude, no matter who wins tonight, I think they're gonna like really steamroll through the rest of this playoffs. There's
Especially
nothing
being
stopping them.
rested.
Yeah,
This because of the series that's going 7 games, like you kind of mentioned with Boston and Toronto, like these teams are going to be tired,
yeah.
and they have to face Nathan McKinnon.
And
That's going
Kale
to be tough.
McCarr, oh my God, he just flies through the ice. I don't get it. It's crazy. I think this is a good aside to talk about this because we're flying through this first round right now.
Yeah,
Kale McCarr and like Connor McDavid have like a very unique skating style where they're like the two best skaters in the league and nobody's even close. It's unreal. And I just love watching McCarr. He's so good with the puck and he's just so good with the skates.
he's so smart with it too. Like he knows what play to make. He knows to shoot or pass. And I wish I had a defenseman like Kale McCarr on my
Yeah,
team because wow, he's
exactly.
really good.
Oh my gosh. Now let's move on to the series that is still going on as of right now, May 5th, 2 p.m. Dallas, Vegas. I almost said Vegas, or I just messed up the names, but Dallas, Vegas. What a series, by the way. I
This
do
has been
not envy the
incredible.
position that the Dallas Stars are in.
No,
Not at all. That's
nope.
crazy what they've had to deal with. And believe me, I'll be pulling for them tonight, but man, has this been a tough series for them.
They got a very difficult draw coming out that final game of the year where the Kings stay in third in the Pacific and the Knights get that wild card 2 spot because they got healthy, they got Mark Stone back, and they're
Well, of
obviously just
course
a
they're
good
healthy.
team.
They're cheating.
Right,
They're
yeah.
cheating, Rob. Like,
Yeah, of course. But they got a super tough draw and they went down. They lost the first 2 games in Dallas, and I was, what are we doing here? Like, are we good, guys? Like, what's going on? Of
and they
course, they
rebounded.
win 3 straight after that, and I was worried about them at first. They played some close games. They lost. This has been by far, I think, my favorite series of the first round.
Oh yeah,
It's not close.
I'm gonna be glued to my TV. I have to move out of my dorm in a few days, but this is the only TV that I have not unpacked because I will be glued to my couch. It's like I said again. When you're coming to a Dallas Vegas game in this series, they'll sell you the whole seat, but you're only gonna need the edge. Cause wow, this has been an exciting series. Any like highlights? Oh my God, I gotta think. Cause there have been some really cool, interesting goals. There've just been some really interesting.
Wyatt Johnston in
Yeah,
OT. I think it
Wyatt
was
Johnson OT.
was it game 3 or game 4? I forget.
I don't
But
know.
that was
I'm inclined to
of
say five. No, game
I
4.
could all the games kind of like seem to mesh into one. It's just been that exciting. It's been nonstop entertainment.
I
And
am
it was
so stressed. Yeah,
game 6. I really wanted overtime. I've wanted
so bad.
overtime every game this series.
I wanted overtime
You
in
should
every
want
game.
overtime every game, period. But like if there was a series where I want every game to go to overtime, it's this one. And
This
if there's a
one.
game 7 that I want to go to overtime, it's tonight. Also because it's a 7:30 puck drop on the East Coast, so I can actually be awake to watch the overtime.
Hallelujah. It's amazing.
Unlike the other overtime they had where it was 1 a.m. and I am struggling to keep my eyes open. But
Dude, rip the Kings Oilers series. I think I've fallen asleep during 2 of their games, so don't have to worry about that anymore.
That series could have been on True TV.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. So we've gone through all the first round matchups. Before we start into talking about the second round matchups and who we think is going to win what, Rob, who's winning tonight?
Give me the Dallas Stars.
Yeah. Like,
It reminds me a lot of the Devils Rangers series last year. Home team loses the first 2 games, wins the next 3, get punched in the mouth game 6, and now have to win on home ice game 7. Does history repeat itself? I a little bit biased towards the Stars, I can't lie to you. I just think they are the better team. I think if Jake Ottinger is Jake Ottinger tonight, it shouldn't be a problem. I think if Dallas's forwards come to play, it shouldn't be a problem. But of course, this is hockey. One bad bounce could ruin your season. So I think it'll be a close game the whole way. But give me Dallas Stars in overtime.
no, see, I love what you're saying, and I wish I could say it myself because I am rooting 100% for the Dallas Stars here. We don't want Vegas in the second round. We don't. I don't. Like, don't make it harder for them. Like, but I have to be realistic here. Vegas, they're inevitable.
Right.
They kind of cheated with the LTIR thing. By the way, did you see that pic of Mark Stone's wife with the
Thought it was
Vegas fan with the
hilarious.
LTIR? That was fantastic. I love
Like
it.
at least they're aware,
Oh
like
yeah,
they're
at
making
least
fun.
they're at
Like,
least they know.
if
They
I were in
know.
their position, I would be making those jokes too. So
See, personally, I don't know how you can sleep at night being a Vegas Golden Knights fan, but that's the point. You guys know how to be funny, so that's cool with me.
yeah,
That being said, Vegas is winning tonight. I think they could maybe run away with it. Like if they get
really.
started early, it all matters who gets the first goal because whoever gets the first goal, I think they're going to win the game and win the series. But now we've talked officially about every team who we think is going to win tonight in the one series that isn't finished. Let's look at the second round matchups and let's play some devil's advocate. Let's see who is going to win, who's not going to win, and then maybe we'll talk a little bit about the Devils and their lottery chances. Let's move on here. Florida, Boston. Rob, who are you taking?
It's hard not to pick Florida, but I think this series goes 6 games. Obviously, I think Boston's tired, but I think Jeremy Swayman has been played. If they keep playing Swayman, I think Swayman, he might be tired, but maybe you give him a game off to play Olmark. But I just think Florida is too good. They're a lot better than they were last year when they beat the Bruins.
Yeah.
I think this is a series that goes no more than 6 games.
See, that's a great analysis there. And I would agree with it in most occasions. Most occasions. But I think I'm a fool if I don't take Florida to absolutely wipe the floor with Boston in at least at the most 5 games. I think the boneheaded decision making from Jim Montgomery was not good, and it did not help out Boston one bit. And I think that the fact they even started Olmark for a game, that is concerning to me that they did
Very
that against the
surprising.
Leafs. Very surprising. They lost that game too. So yikes. But that being said, another thing, this Florida Panthers team, I think is the cup contender out of this Eastern Conference. Like I will also like try to glaze the Canes a little bit because I like them as well. But I really think Florida won the President's Trophy, came back as a 4 seed the next year, and then went to the Stanley Cup Finals. This year, they've experienced defeat. They've experienced defeat in the Stanley Cup Finals. I think this is the year they go all the way. And I don't think anything can stop them. Look at Carter Verhaeghe. Look at their defense.
They're
They've
such
been
a
incredible.
well-rounded team. I'm so impressed by their forwards, their defense. Playoff Bob is a different animal.
As we
such a
all
deep
saw on
team.
live TV. That is
Yeah.
incredible. The save of the century. Really. Just
I
absolutely
can't
incredible.
wrap my head around it. I don't know how he made that save. I don't know how he did it.
It's just once in a lifetime, once in a generation, you'll see something like that, and it just blows your mind. And I think that's the type of Bobrovsky that we're getting in this second round as well. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Boston, I think, is out of gas. They did not show a lot of depth scoring. There wasn't a lot of scoring in general, and I think you need that to get past this Florida Panthers team. They're cooked. So I have no
Florida
remorse.
showed that they could light the lamp a lot against Tampa. I think a big thing for Boston as well is Pasternak hasn't been playing or hasn't been on the score sheet as much as I think Boston fans would hope he is, despite of course the
Yeah,
Game 7 OT winner last night. The scoring has been a lot of Marchand, I feel like, and the Bruins, if they want to hope to salvage a few of these games, they're going to need Pasta to show up. And Jim
exactly.
Montgomery said that in one of his press conferences. They need Pasta, and if he doesn't show up, they're not going very far.
Exactly. Now, getting it out of the way, let's move on to Vancouver Edmonton. I'm just gonna go back and forth here.
Just drop it a little bit.
Yeah, this series, this is gonna be nice. I can already feel it. I can feel it already. There's gonna be hate. There's gonna be teams throwing just to be throwing hands here. They're gonna be absolutely going at it from the puck drop to the puck finish. I mean, we saw some nastiness in the series against Nashville. They're gonna bring it to Edmonton. Who do you think wins the series?
It's hard to pick against the Oilers with just how good they've been. I do think there is a chance for the Canucks. I do think there's a chance for the Canucks here. I think a lot of people are going to pick the Oilers in this series. I am probably going to pick the Oilers in this series, but I think the Canucks have a better chance than people will give them credit for. It's going to be close. It's almost like you can flip a coin on this one for me. I think it'll be that close.
Oh, I completely agree with you. Except it'll maybe go 7, but I think this is the Canucks series. They totally have it.
Yeah.
Because the Preds and the Oilers, when you really think about it, are kind of the same team, except the Preds don't have Connor McDavid. Exactly. That's the only separator.
Yeah.
They're both really nasty teams that find a way to score and have a pretty hot goaltender that wears the number 74. But yeah, that's weird too. But Vancouver, they proved everything they needed to prove against Nashville. They went to the Cup Finals. No, they went to the Western Conference Finals a couple years ago. They were backed by Demko, but then they brought the depth. They have the depth to do it. I really think this is a new Vancouver Canucks team that will compete for many years to come, and it starts with this year. And I'm a little terrified of the Oilers. Again, they kind of scare me.
Yeah.
McDavid with 11 assists through 5 games is bonkers. It's not real. It's kind of ridiculous. Redonk, if you will. But yeah, Vancouver, I think, has got this. They're confident.
also
They've
do
shown
think
strides.
Vancouver is obviously a much stronger team than LA. So I think that we saw what McDavid and Draisaitl were able to do, just kind of run wild.
It's gonna be a harder series
at times. It's going to be a lot harder series on them, and I think if Silav plays as well as he did, they can quite easily keep Vancouver in this. I think it's almost no Demko, no problem, because I think the Canucks can hang without him, and this is obviously going to be a lot tougher than the case for the Oilers. So
sure.
I would not expect to see McDavid drop 11 assists again in this series. 11 assists in 5 games is wild.
Kind of crazy.
That's ridiculous. But I can see this one again. I'm really excited for this series, mostly because I like Quinn Hughes. But there's another one I can see going 6 or 7.
Yeah, of course. Now let's move on to another game that's going on tonight. Stop pressuring me. I'm trying to push out content as quick as I can. But the Rangers and Canes, they will be playing tonight. Actually, not even tonight. They're playing in 2 hours. Puck drop is at 4. We're recording this at 2 p.m. on Sunday. Sorry for being late, but yeah, Canes Rangers. This will be a series. I'm ready to tune in and watch every single game of this one.
I think this is arguably the 2 best teams in the league this year. Obviously, the Rangers, your
Definitely
President's
arguably
Trophy winners, and the Canes right behind them. I think on every power ranking I've seen, these teams are 1, 2, or 3. I think, as excited as I am for Canucks Oilers, I think this will be the best series of the second round. I don't see any way that these are not the best games of hockey that we will see in this round.
And I agree with you.
I hope it goes 7.
Oh yeah.
I hope every series goes 7.
Do you think? Do you know who's going to win?
I'm biased. We
know you're biased. Trust me, we know you're biased.
Yeah,
I'm also biased too. I'm gonna let it affect mine, but
I think the Canes are the better team here. I think the Canes are better even strength. But again, as I've said, Igor Shesterkin has the ability to steal games and therefore series. I think the Rangers, if the the Hurricanes can stay disciplined, don't give the Rangers that extra opportunity on the power play, because we know how good the Rangers power play is, especially in the playoffs. If they can do that, they stand a chance. If they are undisciplined, the Rangers will run right through them. This is going 7. There's not a doubt in my mind that this series is going 7. I'm inclined to say the Rangers sneak out of it with that home ice advantage, but I think this is another one that could flip a coin for me. I'm so torn,
Yeah.
but I can't really decide here. But I will say definitively 7 games without a doubt.
I mean, it's going to be a tough series. I'm really it's tough for me to choose which one of these teams is going to win, because the Rangers, they steamrolled through the Caps, and the Carolina Hurricanes, they essentially steamrolled through the Islanders. I think obviously the Canes had the tougher first round matchup, and it will help them out, but they didn't score as many goals. So that's what worries me. I think goaltending will definitely be the deciding factor here, and if the Canes have it, they'll win. So we'll see what happens there. I will be picking Canes in 7, but it'll be a long 7. It'll be a fun 7. I'm just so excited to see this entire series play out. But yeah,
It almost stinks that this isn't the Eastern Conference Final. This is only the second
yeah,
round.
but like,
But
think of it like this.
at the
Think of
same
it like this.
time, it's going to be good.
Think of it like this. The team that wins this series is going to play the Florida Panthers, and that's
Right.
going to be the Eastern Conference Finals that
Yeah.
we've deserved
Yeah.
for years. It's going to be great. And now the final playoff series, Colorado versus the winner of Dallas Vegas. Do you think the trajectory of the series changes no matter based on who wins this game tonight? Do you think the Avalanche
I think
have,
Colorado's my winner regardless.
yeah, I'm the same way, but
I find it tough, especially, there's been 6 very tough games for both teams, and expecting a 7th tough game tonight. Even if today, like you kind of predicted, even if Vegas can kind of coast to a win here, I think Colorado's well rested, and I think they are the better team, despite regular season records. I will not count Nate McKinnon out. And
you
if
can
that
never
defense
do
plays
it.
like they did in front of Georgiev for games 4 through or 2 through 5, they're going to be a very difficult team to beat.
Oh, 100%. I think that it does affect the trajectory of the series, because I think if they play Vegas, Colorado's winning in 3 games. Like, they've already exercised the Vegas Demons. I think, again, they're going to give them a little bit of a scare, maybe like a game to win. But I think Dallas will be the really tough competitor and the really tough matchup that we've deserved, because they're
Yeah.
2 mobile defensemen and like 2 stout defensive cores, combined with an iffy goaltending play and some good scoring depth. Matt Duchene, along with Wyatt Johnston, have been great for them.
He's
So,
been a very good pickup for them this year.
oh
I
yeah,
was surprised to see Nashville let him go.
for the
Stars picked
money,
him
yeah.
up, and I was well, okay. That's a good player. He's going to be great with them. And that line of Duchesne, like Wyatt Johnston, and Logan Stankoven been incredible.
Dude, Mighty Mouse, Logan Stankoven, 5'8" and just absolute. He's plowing through people. He's been incredible. Have you seen the passes
Some of
he's
the
been
plays
making?
that I've seen, there was one, I forget who he deked, but deked the guy, goes to the red line, backhand dish right in front of the crease. That was an incredible. I was blown away. That was an insane play, and he's made many of those plays where I have been blown away by his
Puck
vision
skills.
on the ice.
Yeah, and he's just made some great passes in general. But again, that's another reason why I want to see Dallas win, because I think that series would be so much more interesting when they have it. All right, so we've gone through all the playoffs. There's not much else to really talk about except the draft lottery. It's on the 8th, I believe, right? It's on May 8th, May 7th. It's coming up soon.
Soon,
Rob, do you think you have a shot? 3.5? The
no.
Devils have a shot? Yeah, no, they don't.
I've been on Tankathon. I've been hitting Sim Lottery as much as I can, and we're pretty much at 10. So I'm
All I'm
cool
gonna
with that.
say,
I'm fine. I think I could find something at 10.
all I'm gonna say is I think you guys are A-okay at 10. The
Yeah.
worst case scenario is that this team moves up. This team, not the USA team, moves up and picks up an Ivan Demidov ahead of you. But I still think
Yeah.
you're getting a good defenseman regardless. I think, again, and I'll talk about this. Actually, I'm going to do Watch out, YouTube. I'm going to be doing a YouTube video the second after the trade deadline, the draft lottery. I can't speak today. It's ridiculous. But the second after the draft lottery, I'm going to come out with a whole new mock draft out, top 32 picks. But now we'll know where they're going to go. So, and it's actually something to watch because, dude, talk to any Canadians fan. They don't care about any defenseman in this draft. They don't care about the wingers. They're like, oh, give us Berkeley Catton. He is so amazing. I'm like, dude. And yeah, we'll see. But like, I don't think he's in their range because they're really low on this board this year. But that's a story for another video. I actually don't think Celebrini would be a great fit in New Jersey. What about you? I mean, you don't need another center.
I just think with our center depth, like you have Hughes, Heischer. Are you gonna bump one of those down to the third line? You're gonna bump Celebrini down to the third line. They've been playing Jack Hughes on the wing this year, but I think part of that's due to shoulder injury or something like that.
Yeah.
But I don't think we need a center.
No.
And as cool as it would be to have Celebrini, I don't think it's a reasonable fit.
I think the Devils are in a great position to pick very well, regardless of where they finish in the lottery. So be happy. And Rob, if you have any questions, you know exactly who to talk to about the draft.
I know if I have a prospect question, it's always
this guy.
to you.
It's always this guy. So,
I've been
but yeah,
looking at the mock drafts, just trying to. I know Zeev is a guy you are big on and a guy that I like, but he's probably getting taken a couple spots before us. So I wouldn't be
too hasty. He might fall. That's the thing is with Zeev, I have him really high. Like he's 3 on my list. I think, yeah, he's 3 on my list because he was 3 on April. If I'm spoiling this for May, sorry, but like he's 3 on my list because he's earned that spot. He's a great player. The only thing with him is just he's not high on a lot of other people's lists. People have Dickinson ahead of him, Levshinov ahead of him. Salayev, I get it, but I think if you're looking for the best well-rounded defenseman, you take Zeev. And if he falls, the team that gets him is going to get him, and he's going to make camp immediately. So he's going to play in the NHL.
I know it was 2 years ago when we had the second overall pick, and we picked Shimon Nemitz. People were confused we didn't take another forward. I think Shane Wright was still on the board.
Yeah.
And we picked Nemitz, and people were kind of like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
So
we didn't really need the forward.
I thought you were going to get Cooley with that pick, but like in the moment, I was like, oh my God, they passed. They're getting Cooley. Because Slavkovsky would have been amazing for you guys. That's a situation where like I would have told you guys to trade up, but Nemec is a great get. And I've seen him in Utica. Like I've been to a game. Yeah. He is insane.
I'm really excited to see what he does here too.
Oh yeah.
Super excited.
He's going to be special. Well, Rob, that's really all I have for you today. Any final thoughts? Any final hot takes for, we love hot takes in the club.
We do love hot takes here.
Any final hot takes for the second round?
I don't know if I have any final hot takes. I think it's going to go mostly as people expect, but I think if I had a big hot take, it is that I think Silov shuts out the Oilers in not one but 2 of the games this series.
I will be counting on that. I'm just gonna put it down on my bingo board, and if Rob's right, I'm gonna make a whole big Instagram post about it's like Silovs will shut out 2 Oilers games, and just like a compilation. I'll just make an edit. It'll be so funny.
There's just gonna be 2 might be ambitious, but I think there's gonna be that one game where he's just absolutely locked in for 60 minutes. Nothing's getting past.
Oh yeah, I feel you there because I think that it's gonna be a buzzsaw for Edmonton to run to. Well, Rob, thank you so much for joining. That'll be all for the New Wave Hockey Podcast today. Thank you so much for listening and watching. And I'm your host, Link Dansevich, signing off.